It is 5 points from a possible 15 for Barcelona. Is the honeymoon phase over for Hansi Flick? That is the question I'll be posing on the show today. Welcome to Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyeboli. It's exciting times. It's a Christmas feeling. And yes, we're here not only to analyze, but also to celebrate. Once again, welcome to the best sports show you can get anywhere in the land. I'm not doing this alone. Of course, I have Abe David, and together we'll unpack, we'll dissect, analyze all that we have in store for you. But first, let's catch our breath, go on a short break. When we return, we'll get the ball rolling. Sports Pizza, don't change the channel. Welcome, it's still Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyeboli. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is the best analytical sports show you can get anywhere. And of course, I have David in the building. David, welcome. How you doing?
Edwin, I'm good. Always pleasure to be here with you to do this. I think my parents, when I was growing up, they told me that don't cut corners in life.
Yeah.
So I decided that after I decided they don't cut it, they want to start scoring the corners. That's my problem for me. But that's a lighter note.
Okay, I like that. We'll get to us now much later. But I want us to start with the Spanish La Liga. Like I said, 5 points from 5 games, 5 points from 15 for Barcelona and Hansi Flick. Is the honeymoon phase over?
I think you have mentioned, credit to you, said it so many times, that what they were achieving at the earlier part of the season was an overachievement. They were overshooting their expectations, overshooting performances, and they will revert back to them. I think they've done that. And also, I think people have misprofiled this Barcelona team. If you watch them now, it's clear as day to see that they are a counter-attacking team. That's where they are strongest. The days of the tiki-taka style of football are completely gone. Hansi Flick, they are a counter-attacking team. I watched them against Betis, against Mallorca. The best time they created chances was counter-attacking. And because of how they play the high line, I think there's chances for opponents to have against them. And with the profile of players they have in defense, I think there's a lot of... This team is a work in progress, and we're actually seeing that work in progress now.
What have they stopped doing? In the earlier part of the season, like you said, I also said it, they overshot expectation. But they were doing a lot of things that were right. Now, they don't seem to do all of that. Maybe you can highlight one or two of those qualities that shone in the first few weeks of the season. And more importantly, Lamine Yamal started this game and they dropped 2 points. It's the first time it has happened this season where Lamine Yamal has started in the league and Barcelona failed to pick up all 3 points.
So I think it's a two-edged sword. I think at the beginning of the season, 2 things were in play. One, they were creating chances and they were converting chances at efficiencies that were really unsustainable. They were converting almost 1 in 2 chances they were creating. But now they are beginning to miss some chances. I watched them against Mallorca. If they converted all the chances, or majority of the chances they created in that game, they probably have had a bigger score, and against Betis as well. And now teams, at the beginning of the season, their high line was a novelty. People were not sure what this was about. But I think people have now understood it.
Yeah.
I saw Mallorca against them, and Mallorca were just lining up, waiting for the right opportunity. They were just like, if we do it 5-6 times, we'll get one. And they eventually got one in that game. And I think it's those 2 options. They are not scoring as much as they did at the beginning of the season because they are missing a lot of chances. And also, people are getting them at their high line.
For Real Madrid, they're just 2 points behind them, David. Carlo Ancelotti has been under a lot of criticism from the media, from the fans, different corners. But they seem to find a way to win. And it comes with experience, it comes with the quality of the manager, not having a dig at Hansi Flick, who has a fantastic resume. But you get a feeling also that Carlo Ancelotti doesn't get as much credit as I think he deserves.
I completely agree with you. One thing I adore him for is the fact that he doesn't do as much talking as some of the other managers we have out there. He doesn't brag as much as about his abilities and what he's able to do. The season he had last season with Real Madrid, one of the greatest seasons I've seen from a football club, with the challenges he had to face. They have similar challenges this season. And there's a period they had 2 right backs missing. What did he do? Shifted Valverde to that position, and then they didn't suffer much from it. Now Lucas Vázquez is back, and they're able to still continue. The game against Girona at the weekend, I did not expect them to have it that easy, and they made it easy. It's just quality of the manager, quality of the players. All of them have just come on board and decided that we are Real Madrid. We know what it takes to deliver the highest level. Just keep doing our thing, criticism aside.
David, there's a team nobody wants to talk about. A team that I think have every chance to win the league. That is Atletico Madrid. Each time we talk about favorites in the Spanish La Liga, it's always Real Madrid and Barcelona. Rightfully so. They've won the most league titles in the history of that competition. But this season, is following a familiar pattern.
Yeah.
In 2013, 2014, 2020, 2021, both seasons Atletico Madrid won the league title. They didn't have as much injury issues like other two teams. One of those challengers faltered along the way, and they went on to win it. Now, Atletico Madrid are on a fantastic form, rich vein of form, winning games, scoring goals, playing to the full strength of the squad.
Yeah.
And I think they have as much chance as Real Madrid and Barcelona have.
Yeah, absolutely. I think putting aside Real Madrid and Barcelona, you look at Atletico Madrid, the squad they have, the team they have, the manager they have, they look like one of the best teams in La Liga, and they have a shot. This is a genuine title contending season. I think the first title they won was, the ultra defensive team, the very solid defense. The second title was, the work of Luis Suarez banging in the goals up front, the experience he had. This season they have as much balance as I've ever seen in an Atletico Madrid squad under Simeone. Yeah. Defensively, there's options rich. In midfield also, there's a lot of options, and in attack as well, they are beginning to gel. They have Solot and Julian Alvarez. That's goals are plenty. So I think this balance is enough to give them a genuine title shout.
Will football fans appreciate Griezmann more when he retires?
I mean, if you are an actual football fan, you actually appreciate the unfancied parts of football. I think Griezmann is somebody who plays with his brain instead of mostly his physicality. I think that's one thing that has stood him out over the career he's had. Look at his age, 34, and he's still able to produce the things we saw him produce years ago. He has not lost pace because he didn't rely on it. His dribbling is still on point, his passing is still on point, his goal scoring is still on point. So I think what an unfancied career he has had.
And away from the Spanish La Liga, let's quickly touch on the English Premier League. David, more draw points for Arsenal Football Club. I'm sure you're disappointed.
Yeah, it was a disappointing game because it was a game they needed to win.
Yeah,
and I think that's why there's a lot of disappointment.
Yeah, still with Arsenal, David, you made a light joke of Arsenal's corner kick proficiency in the introduction. But I want us to have a quick conversation around it. So if you check the statistics, Arsenal have scored about 28 goals in the league. 1/3 of those goals have come from set piece. Now, it's a two-in-one question. Are they dependent on set piece as their major source of goals? And of course, if you depend on set piece as a major source of goals, does it have a bad look on the coach in that the team have struggled to create chances from open play?
I think it's a two-edged sword. You might call it an over-dependence on set pieces, but you look at those games, we need to put it in context. I remember the period where Arsenal were struggling to create chances against deep blocks, and people were like, how can you be a manager and not find the way around it? Arteta found the way around it. Okay, we get corner kicks from playing against deep blocks. Teams sit deep against us and don't give us spaces, and we end up getting set pieces. How do we make advantage of it? And decide to use set pieces. I think the problem will be if they were not creating goals from other sources. People talked about the game against United that they created 2 goals from set pieces, but you look at that game, they had chances to score. I think because they don't have a recognized striker. I don't know how I can sit here and recognize the fact that Arsenal are missing a focal point up front, somebody who can actually guarantee goals, and Arteta doesn't sit. I think that's why it has looked like they are really dependent on those set pieces. But generally, they create enough chances to win games, but because they don't have clinical edge in the box, they are unable to convert those chances, and it seems like set pieces are where the goals come from.
And not just Arsenal, Manchester City also dropped points, and Pep Guardiola once again in the press said, hey, I have injured players, 7 players, blah, 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 blah. Personally, I think it's too many excuses. That team he put out against Crystal Palace on all fronts are better than Crystal Palace. Man for man, maybe with the exception of Rico Lewis. You can't point at a Crystal Palace player who's better than whatever City put on the day. In fact, those who came in from the bench, better than whatever Crystal Palace offered. So if you're making excuses for games like that, how about those teams who have also struggled with injuries and have also lost their players? Crystal Palace lost one of their best defenders on the verge of losing Gueye, injuries. So everybody
has to do
at some point or the other this season have dealt with injuries. Now, I think Pep Guardiola is making too many mistakes for his players, and the players are buying into it.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think one thing you need to consider is, you say his injury is quite alright, we understand, but 1 win in 9 cannot be put down to just injury, and that's the problem. I don't know why you're not seeing the bigger picture, that you have 1 win in 9 games with the squad that you built over the years, that you spent all those money to invest in that squad, and you have 1, 2, 3 injuries, and then the squad cannot win more than a game in 9 fixtures. It's terrible, and I think that's why the excuses don't really make sense to me. Unfortunately, the players, I think if you say they are buying into it, I think so, because you look at their performances, they are actually dropping in how we expect them to perform.
And for Chelsea, fantastic win against Spurs. Spurs are only Spurs. Quick fact, for those who don't know, Spurs have lost 11 games when they have gone 2-0 up. That is 4 more than any other team in the English Premier League. So we're not going to spend too much time on Spurs. Maybe some other time we'll talk about Ange Postecoglou. But Chelsea fans are tempering expectations with respect to the title challenge. But are they in the title challenge?
I think at this point you cannot write them out completely. I think at the beginning of the season I was skeptical. I felt, oh, the defense would not be able to bail them out when they need to. But I think we are seeing a repeat of the 2013-2014 Liverpool season. Probably they are trying to do what Brendan Rodgers could not do. You know, outscore your opponent in every game and just get yourself over the line. They know they don't have the best of defense. They don't have the best of defenders. But the attacking quality they have. I mean, they won games and they had opportunity to put some of the players that some teams will beg to have on their bench. And I think it's that attacking quality that they want to rely on. Credit to Enzo Maresca, he has found a way around it, and I think it's working for them. For
Liverpool, without playing a game, the game was called off. The Merseyside derby was called off due to bad weather. It felt like they gained more ground. But hey, Chelsea reduced that point gap from 7 to 4. It's left to be seen how Liverpool reacts. And of course, Manchester City, Arsenal, I think they're still in the title race. But quick one before we go to the Italian Serie A, David. Chelsea, Arsenal, who is better equipped to challenge or possibly displace Liverpool in the long run?
I think Arsenal, we expected this season to be a season of consolidation. After 2 title challenges, we expected them to raise their level. But because they've been unable to raise their level due to injuries and other, mentality issues that I think they've not solved. And also for Chelsea, this season, I think Maresca has a strategy. The squad that I have, make the best out of it. We don't have a strong defense, but attacking-wise, we have riches in attack, so we can win as many games as possible. I think at this point, because of how close it is, I'll maybe give it 55% to Arsenal, 45% to Chelsea.
All right, David, let's wrap up this conversation with the Italian Serie A. Atalanta are the early pace setters. It's 9 consecutive league wins for Atalanta. It's their best run since 2020, where they went on to win 9 consecutive games. But alongside Lazio and Fiorentina, all 3 sides in the top 4. Lazio got a huge win against Napoli, who dropped points once again. Juventus are just out of it. Unbeaten, hey, 9 draws, 6 or 7 wins in the Serie A. But I want us to focus on Atalanta, Lazio, and Fiorentina. Do you think they are punching above their weight?
Okay, so for me, I think for Atalanta, they are not punching above their weight because they have a manager who is seasoned with experience, and the squad they have, we've seen them do big things in Italian football, even in European football for a long time, so at least we feel it's a progression. For Fiorentina and Lazio, I think they are punching above their weight. Marco Baroni last season was coaching the team that was almost relegated, so I think he has raised his level. Fortunately for them, good recruitment, and he has got everything to work for. For Fiorentina as well, we are seeing things that we are not used to seeing. Fine, they have David De Gea, we know his quality, but what Moise Kean is doing is not sustainable. He has never done a double-digit goal league season in his career. He's on 9 goals this season. He's on course to break it at this point in the season. So I think some of those players are playing above their levels, and that's why for Fiorentina and Lazio, I think they will eventually falter. But for Atalanta, I think they can sustain it because of the Gasperini effect. All
right, we need to go on a break at this point. Let's catch our breath. It's been sizzling hot right here in the studio. I'm sure you've enjoyed every bit of analysis. There's more from where it is coming from. Don't change the channel. We will be right back. Welcome back. This is still Sports Pizza. Remember to give us a follow on our social media platform. The handles are showing on your screens. They are lovely, lovely content for you on the YouTube page. David, let's do Formula One. The season is over. Max Verstappen, once again, the champion. Not that I wasn't confirmed a few weeks ago. Where do we start? Let's talk about the race itself. Abu Dhabi, McLaren sealed their first constructors title since 1998. That's a 26-year wait. All thanks to Lando Norris getting the checkered flag ahead of the Ferraris, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. It was a nervy one, but hey, McLaren can look back at the season where Lando Norris won 4 races and feel they can challenge in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what his season it has been for me, it culminated in a very fantastic end of the season. This is the first time in the last 12 years that a team that is not Mercedes or Red Bull have actually won in Abu Dhabi, and it's a good one for McLaren. Not only McLaren, the other teams who can take positive. I think Alpine as well, Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon.
Yeah.
What can they do next season? And for Ferrari, I think for me this season, I think they have a lot of positive. Carlos Sainz is leaving, they are replacing him with Lewis Hamilton. I think possibly we are going to see a more exciting season next season. McLaren in the picture, Ferrari can reclaim their lost glory. Red Bull have a lot of work next season.
And for Mercedes, like you said, you brought up Lewis Hamilton, 12-year relationship with Mercedes is over in the history of Formula One. It's the longest team-driver relationship and also the most successful team-driver relationship in the history of Formula One. In a few sentences, can you just give a summary of his time at Mercedes? Could he have done more? Did he overachieve? Did he underachieve?
I think for me, a lot of people would have talked about the fact that he won his first title at McLaren. It looked like getting to Mercedes, there was going to be a real step up.
Yeah.
But I think for what he has done, I mean, 6 titles at the team, fantastic career he has had. What more could you ask from him? He dominated the field when he was on the circuit. I think you can't ask for more from what he has done.
And finally, Max Verstappen, is he going to make it 5 from 5 next year?
I don't think it's going to be as easy as some of the previous ones. This one was not easy, to be very honest. And I think next is going to be even tougher because we've mentioned the aforementioned Ferrari and also, McLaren, who had a fantastic season. It's going to be difficult for him. And unless Red Bull can fix some of the issues that happened in the second half of this, because we need to remember the first half of the season they were imperious. Second half, something went off. The fact that they didn't even finish top 2 in the Constructors' Championship shows how much they had fallen. So I think there's a lot of work for Red Bull and for Max Verstappen next season.
Away from Formula One, let's head back home, David. Enyimba were on continental duty, David. Zamalek, the opponent, ended 2-2 at the Gospel Akpabio Stadium. Zamalek raced to a 2-0 lead. Enyimba clawed their way back. It's 1 point from 6, while Zamalek and Al-Masri both have 4 points in the group. They currently top the standings. Is it too early to be pessimistic?
I mean, absolutely not. It's not too early to be pessimistic. I mean, if you, at home, your first home fixture of the group stage, and you go 2-0 down, fine, you say it's Zamalek. But I think Enyimba also have enough credits in the bank as a team on the continent to be able to impose themselves on games like this. But I think this season, we've said it that Enyimba being the remaining, continental representative we have, they will not make it all the way. Let's just take the positive we can. Will they make it out of the group stage? I'm not very sure. When you have Al-Masri and Zamalek in that group, when the draws were made, we said it will be difficult to make it out, and it's playing out that way. If you cannot get more than a draw in your first home fixture, how are they going to go away from home? I'm sure they're not getting the victory against Zamalek, and that's where the problem lies. All
right, they have a doubleheader against Black Bulls. It is important that they get 6 points in this fixture. Failure to get that, I think they should just say goodbye to the chances of progressing past the group stage of the CAF Confederations Cup. A quick one from the NPFL, David. Remo Stars are back to the summit but by virtue of goals difference after Rivers United lost at the Cathedral to Rangers in the top of the table clash. It's exciting times in the NPFL. We might not be seeing the games on TV. We might not have the raw data, statistics, the conversations, blah, blah, blah. But it is competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the 3 front runners for the league this season are doing as much as they can. For Rivers United, a disappointing loss to Rangers, but Rangers are title contenders, so it's probably a 50-50 game. For Remo Stars, they needed to respond, and they responded in good fashion. And I think timely win for them. They are back on top by virtue of goals difference. But we are looking at those 3 teams that, for me, are why they are the front runners for the title this season.
Ikorodu City's unbeaten run was halted at Bayelsa, where they lost to Bayelsa United. Finally, before we wrap up the show, David, Nigerian players abroad. So, who are we celebrating today?
Yeah, for me, the usual suspect, Nigerian players. We know what to expect from them. Right? I think Nigerian players in the last few years have grown in leaps and bounds in Europe, and they're actually making names for themselves in some of the top European clubs. How important they become to their teams. Ademola Lookman scored the winner for them in their 2-1 victory against Milan, the victory that saw them get to the top of it. If a Nigerian player can actually be important to a team, actually challenge. The last time we saw Osimhen do it as well. Ademola Lookman as well.
Maybe the Nigerian players are the magic. If you want to win the Serie A, sign a Nigerian attacker.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our Super Eagles need a lot of work if we have players doing their best on the continent. And for Tolu Arekudare in Belgium as well, he helped them to a victory over the course of the weekend. It's very fantastic. When we get the chance in the Super Eagles, we don't know, but his time is coming very soon. For Fulham, we had Alex Iwobi and Calvin Bassey. Frustrated us now to a 1-1 draw. Both of them were really good in that. Iwobi is somebody who is very underrated in Super Eagles. His abilities is underrated. And for Victor Osimhen in Turkey, helped Galatasaray to a 3-2 victory, put them back on top of the table. They now have about 6 points ahead of Fenerbahce. Hopefully, we'll lead another team to another title. Fantastic one for Nigerian players.
That's the much we can take on the show today. I'm sure you've had so much fun with us. We'll be back same time next week with another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. As always, we leave you with our video for the week. Do enjoy it. Follow us on our social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screen. Until we come your way same time next week. Thank you, David, once again for being on the show. It's always a pleasure. And it's a goodly week.
No, it's not. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to do this video. From David, it's goodbye.
And from me, Edwin Onyebolise, it is adios. Do have a wonderful week.